Okay, so good morning. I mean, not good morning, good evening, everyone. So, this is for your video lectures, no, for hydraulics. So, last meeting, we've discussed the properties of fluids. So, supposedly, mag-discuss man sana tayo ng, ano ba to? Uh, Pressures and Pascals, no? But anyway, sige, discuss na natin to siya. And I chose not to discuss hydrostatic forces sa video para if mag face-to-face na by next week, ma-discuss sa face-to-face. No, kasi medyo kuhan yun eh, tricky. But anyway, we'll find a way. Okay, so let's start. Yun. So let's start with fluid statics. Okay. So kapag sinabing statics, that is fluid at rest. Okay, that is fluid at rest. So syempre, if there is a fluid at rest, we assume there's a pressure. Okay? Kana. So let's define pressure. So what is pressure? So it refers to the effects of a force acting against and distributed over a surface. So the force may be exerted by a solid, liquid, or gas. Often, the force causing a pressure is simply the weight of a material. So, familiar man sa atin yung pressure, no? Um, once, let me share na lang. So, ano yung difference ng pressure at saka yung stress? So, you will tell me, they have the same unit, sir. So, wala naman siyang difference. So, one of my instructors then, uh, in-explain niya sa amin na difference between pressure and stress. Pressure is for liquids or fluids, no? And yung stress is for the solid or the material. So, syempre, applying pressure, magiging stressed yung material. So, somehow, ganyan yung principle. Okay, so let's focus na lang sa fluid. Sorry. So for fluid pressure, so it is transmitted with equal intensity in all directions and acts normal to any plane. In the same horizontal plane, the pressure intensities in a liquid are equal. Measurements of unit pressures are accomplished by using various forms of gauges. So actually, di ba, ang i-discuss natin dito is Pascal's law and pressures and the manometers. And hanggang manometers lang muna. So actually, itong statement ito na yung Pascal's law. So i-explain ko yan later on when we got there later, no? So sabi Pascal's law, fluid pressure is transmitted with equal intensity in all directions and acts normal to any plane. So in the same horizontal plane, the pressure intensities in a liquid are equal. Okay? So more of the explanation later on. Okay? So the unit pressure or pressure is expressed as force divided by the area. Sorry. So mathematically, pressure is equal to force over area. So ang unit niyan is Newton per meter squared, or that is Pascal, di ba? Or in English, that is pound per square inch or PSI, or pound per square foot, or that is PSF. All right. So ito, basic naman yan na formula, no? So let's proceed. So there are types of pressure, no? How to calculate. So yung objective pala natin dito is how do we calculate a pressure at a certain fluid. Okay? So basic knowledge between pressure at a certain fluid, we need to have steps, no? So we need to know how to get a pressure at a certain point. Okay? So suppose lang, there is a fluid, kana siyang blue. Okay? Let's assume na itong line na yan, That is the free surface, kumbaga, free surface. So for the free surface, the pressure there is, ano ba? Ilan yung pressure dyan? Later on, sasabihin ko. Not here muna. No? So suppose there is a fluid, meron siyang unit weight na gamma. And we are asked to solve for the pressure at this point, itong yellow. So simply, pressure of the point, ganito lang. Pressure is equal to gamma times the height, or that is the height from the reference point, free surface, to the point na ano yung kukunin nyo. So yung mag-come up na unit dyan is ito, Pascal, PSI, or PSF. Makita mo naman, no? Kasi yung gamma has a unit of, example, Newton per cubic meter. So if multiply mo siya ng distance height, so magiging square meter na lang. Okay? So ito yung sabi ni Pascal. Fluid pressure is transmitted with equal intensity in directions and acts normal to any plane. So at any point, at this point, okay, I mean at this point pala, the pressure are equal in any direction. So that's why may representation tayo na Py and Px equal yan sila. No? So Px is equal to Py. Yan. So that's how you solve a pressure to a point. Formula yan, gamma times h. So let's now proceed with the difference in pressure. So syempre, no, kanina yung reference point lang natin is the free surface. So what if there are 2 points na nag-vary? No? So dyan, how do we solve the pressure? So pwede naman, pwede nyo gawin, simply kunin mo yung pressure at point 1, kunin mo din yung pressure at point 2, tapos isubtract mo dalawa. Di ba? But anyway, yung pressure pala, ano ba yan? Suppose sa water, does the pressure increases when ano ba yan, magkalalim or magkababaw? Ano yung ma-experience nyo dati if mag-diving kayo? So syempre, no, when you are going to dive in the water, so you can feel kuan sa imong ears, sa eardrums. So that means na yung pressure sa mas ilalim, kuan na part, is higher. Okay? So actually, yung kuan niya dito, yung tawag dyan, pressure diagram, 0 siya sa free surface. Okay? And palaki siya dito. Triangular na siya. Sorry for the kuan. But triangular. Magkalalim, magkataas. Yan. Na siya. So, directly proportional man siya. Okay na siya. No? Tanda. So ito, this is how you get this. No, pressure 1, pressure 2 is subtract. Or pwede rin ganito. Delta P, 'di ba si P1 is gamma H1. So si P2 naman gamma H2. So delta P or the difference in pressure is gamma, which is same lang naman siya ng unit weight. So that would be the difference of H1 minus H2. Ito siya, distance between the 2 points. Okay? So kana lang. Simple na dyan siya, class. Simple na dyan siya. Mas ma-appreciate ninyo sa tawag na examples later on. So pressure heads. So pressure head, denoted as H, represents the height of column of homogeneous fluid that will produce a given intensity of pressure. So ginabuhat man siya yun ang pressure head because of the instrument we are using. Suppose you heard the piezometer, the manometers. So naman ko'y kuan siya, calibrated siya nga katong mga line. So dili man siya pressure gauge tanan ang naka-attach dito. Pwede ra man katong mga lines lang. So ang ilang ginakuha is the height or the heads. Kumbaga in reference to a certain level, reference point, ilan yung height of the water, height of the column dun sa suppose manometer or piezometer. So baliktarin nyo lang, pressure is equal to gamma h, so yung height niya is P over gamma, di ba? O, kana. O, unit niyan is meter. Yan. Sige. Next. Oh, pressure variations in an incompressible fluid. Anyway, no, medyo mabilis ako. Anyway, video mo ko na siya. So you can pause it or how do you learn from it? Okay ra dyan na siya, di man pareha og face to face nga makuan lang nimo siya hunong tana. But dire, pwede man mo ma-pause, no? Basta. Okay, let's continue. So pressure variations in an incompressible fluid. So iba, as what I've discussed dati, last meeting, incompressible fluid is anyway, how do we define incompressible or compressible? Based siya sa bulk of modulus, no? Bulk modulus of elasticity, yung E. If you're listening sa previous topic natin. So kato siya, if the pressure is much higher niya, gamay lang siya og percent change sa volume, meaning incompressible siya. Dako na kay gi-exert nga pressure tapos gamay lang siya na change, incompressible fluid siya. So example ng incompressible fluid, water, no? Water sa salt water, fresh water, incompressible na siya. Sa compressible fluid, kasagaran gas, mga gases. Okay? So anyway, so pressure variations in an incompressible fluid, because it is incompressible, yung change lang niya sa fluid niya is very minimal. So that's why we assume na constant yung density niya. So actually, ito na yung formula. Ito, delta P. So i-back nyo na lang dito. I-transpose mo lang yung P2 das kabila. Okay? Yung P2 dito is the higher part of the one. Diba? Drawing natin kanina. But for compressible fluid naman, yung pressure variations niya are usually very small because of the small unit weight on the small difference in elevation being considered. Pero dili siya negligible. Compressible mo siya nga fluid. So meron siyang change in height or change in elevation. So this time, ito yung formula. Actually, this is from pressure is equals to gamma height lang nasagot. But varying ang pressure, kay varying man ang height. No? So ito, dili na tayo magamit og integral. Okay? dP is equal to negative gamma dH. Yung negative sign dire is when you go up, magka-lesser ang pressure. So mo na siyang significance sa negative. So formula based na jud kay siya, guys, no? Dali na jud kay siya. So next, let's proceed with these terms, no? Absolute and gauge pressure. So absolute pressure uses absolute zero, which is the lowest possible pressure, and the pressure that would exist in a perfect vacuum as its base. So gauge pressure is measured with atmospheric pressure as its base. Nagets niyo? So wala, no? No, sa mga in English dili kay takuan. But anyway, na yung mga maayo yung English with engineering. No, ako personally dili kay ko maayo yung English pa. No? So good for you if maayo na mo English daan. So anyway, as what I'm saying, ito na lang graphical kay visual magud ta mga engineering, may magud tag visual. So kani. No, dara. So ingon kanina, si absolute pressure is measured from a zero or absolute zero base. Okay? Suppose ito yung line na yan. Itong white. So any point above there, if measured from this absolute zero reference, absolute pressure na siya. So suppose ito yung standard atmospheric pressure, itong line na yan. I don't mind the local atmospheric pressure, no? Standard naman natong ginagamit po. Kaning local, small difference na siya, but standard lang, standardized mga SI units man. Okay? So ang kanina, ang absolute pressure, mag-measure ka from the zero reference, absolute zero. Si gauge pressure measured sa standard atmospheric pressure. So, if kani, makita nimo sa graph, if mo ni siya 0, kani siya nga distance. Okay? Kani siya nga distance. Kana nga distance. Standard atmospheric pressure na, no? Kani siya nga distance. So, if paano ni mo absolute pressure ni 1.1, that would be standard atmospheric pressure plus gauge pressure. Okay? So, if bababa pug ka sa standard atmospheric pressure in which kani siya nga distance, example na to, vacuum ang tawag, no? Vacuum or suction. So, if below standard atmospheric pressure, the pressure is still absolute if measured dire, pero ang gauge pressure niya vacuum kani siya. Okay? Kana. So, makita mo na dire, no? P absolute is equal to P ATM plus or minus P gauge. So, ay, ituyo ginin ako siya. Standard atmospheric pressure. Wala na ako nagibutang sa slides kay para ni sa katong mga ni tan-aw ni nga video. So 1 atmosphere equal na siya sa 101.325 isa na siya kilopascal, no? Or saan na ito nibalik? Mga standard niya. Uy, nawala. Ito. Yan. 1 ATM also equal na siya sa 14.7 PSI. Or 1 ATM equal na siya sa 760 mmHg. So, barometer. Kana lang, no? Napad tayo conversion nga 1 bar is equal to 100 Pascal. If wala ko masayop, no? O, kana, 1 bar is equal to 100 Pascal. So, kana na good. O, kani. So, yun ako na. Timanin ninyo na. Gamit na to. Okay? So, if mag-convert ka from PSI to kPa, equate na ni mo duha ka atmosphere. Kuha na ni mo. Okay? Magamit na to na later. Ito na lang. Timanin ninyo na yung formula. Absolute is equal to pressure atmospheric pressure plus or minus the gauge pressure. Positive if the pressure is gauge, negative if the pressure is vacuum or suction. Okay? Kana. Next. Dara. Moram ni siya. Mo ni siya ang mga instruments, no, na measuring pressure. So first is the barometer, familiar na mga na. Mo ni siya ang device na nag-measure of atmospheric pressure. Barometer. So nana siya a certain gauge na mercury ang iyang liquid. So rise and fall na siya based sa standard atmospheric pressure. So piezometer. So is either a device used to measure liquid pressure in a system by measuring the height to which a column of a liquid rises against gravity, or a device which measure the pressure of groundwater at a specific point. So gikan na ni sa Google, Wikipedia pa gani. So para makita ninyo na ako example photos ani nilang tulo, no? So padayon ta sa manometer is a device that we use to measure the pressure of the pipeline. So also, it is usually referred to as U-shaped tube that is filled with a liquid. So example na to, pictures. So sa barometer, kani siya. Example mo na siya. Kasi murag sa inyong school na siguro ni bay kani school na mo dati, wa man nani. Kita sa personal ni, honestly. For piezometer, mo na siya dagko. So nani siya ang piezometer. Ako lang ni siyang excuse me. Ako lang siya ipakita, no? Kay mo man makakita na to kasagaran sa kwan. Sa illustration sa atong mga drawings kani. Piezometer kita mo ginana tube gibutang diya sa tubo. Piezometer na siya. Sila ni siya sa mga dagko nga mga kuan. Kuni piezometer. O na yung mga line. So kani dire ang pressure head, kani siya nga height. Kani. Ah. Next is the manometer. O kani siya, YouTube. O kani, difference in pressure. Makuha mo. Diba? Kana. Okay? So, sige. Oh, sampul na ta. Ako na lang samputlon dire kay para dili taas, dili bugat, dili malag. Okay? So, another video ang example. So, ako sang i-stop ang record. Thank you.